All right, I'll just go ahead on and get started. Today, I wanted to just talk a little bit about how to manage our money when it's low. And I decided that I would talk a little bit about this because I know it's the holiday season and a lot of people are going through different things. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are having issues that they don't want to talk to people about. The money has them stressed out, especially for the single parents out there who have children. The holiday season is here. Christmas is coming up. It's right around the corner, the next couple of weeks. And I know that a lot of people are in dire straits. They are stressed and having all sorts of issues. And the main problem that a lot of people are suffering from is low money. So that made me think a little bit about when my children were small and the different things that I had to go through. And even when, see, I've been married before, of course, and there were times when I had to hold it down so that my spouse could go to class and all of these different types of things. And the money was very, very tight because I still had the children. And then there was actually him as well that I had to make sure that I provided for while he did his thing so that we can get out of the hole that we were in. But the main topic for today is just as far as where the children are concerned. I know that a lot of people are stressing with money, and I went through that. I've had all of those different types of things going on with me as well. So I wanted to take the time out to kind of like go through different ways that I managed when my money was seriously tight and I had no idea what I was going to do, but I figured my way out of it. So I just figured I would share that, and hopefully that it will, hopefully it'll help somebody. So there were times when, let's say, my job wasn't paying that much because I've moved around, of course, but uh, there were times when I lived places where not only was the money not enough coming in from the job, but on top of that, you got the fact that you live somewhere where there's not a lot of options for you anyway. So, if that's the case, what exactly do you do when your kids need clothes, your kids need school supplies, your kids need food to put on the table, and heaven forbid if you're not getting any sort of financial assistance? And let me tell you, I was always that person. I was always the person that was right above the level of assistance, not below it, just right above it, so I could never get it. So, with that being said, I had to make sure that I figured out a way to provide. And some of the things that I would do is let's take groceries for instance. I used to go to the grocery store and I had to get to a point to where I would tell my children. Now, I've never been one to just spend money and buy a lot of snacks, all of these citrus juices, those whatever those little Capri juice things that they had and all of that different stuff. I was never a person who bought all of that because I didn't want my kids to have tummy aches and, you know, um, tapeworms and all of that. A lot of you who I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with that. So anyway, I didn't want them to have those types of things. So every now and then when I would come home on my way home from work, I probably would buy them, let's say, a pack of Skittles a piece or something like that. So I was never one to just spend a lot of money on junk. But I knew that I did have a habit of just letting them put things, let's say, in the buggy if they wanted it from the grocery store whenever we went grocery shopping. And I had to get to a point like, what am I doing? How can I fix this? If my money's low, okay, and I have nobody that I can depend on, nobody at all, there's no one who's going to pop in and actually help me to get this situation under control. I knew I had to do something. So I decided that I would just take matters into my own hands and try to figure this out. I watched a show once and there was a lady on there, and it was years back, and she was um on one of these shows. Anyway, she had managed to save like a whole lot of money and she made less than the minimum wage. And it was like, I was like, how did she do that when she lived by herself? She's paying all of these bills. How is this possible? And I said, so let me figure out what I need to do to get to a point to where we're not struggling. Because let me tell you something, there's nothing worse. And a lot of you who have children, a lot of you who are going through some sort of horrible time right now as I speak. A lot of you, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say you have to figure out what you probably gonna feed your kids. You don't know where the next meal is coming from. You know you don't have no outside help. You are just in such a disarray mentally until you don't know what to do with yourself. I've been there on more than one occasion. So I do understand, which is the reason why, as I said, I'm making a video anyway. So I decided that instead of me going to the store, the main thing I needed to do was stop taking my children to the grocery store. Now, if I didn't have nobody to actually watch them at the time, sometimes you have no other choice and they're just going to have long lips in the grocery store. But if I could prevent from taking them, I wouldn't take them. I would go on my own and just handle my own business. The main thing that I would do was I got to a point where I had to make a list. And I'm not just talking about a regular grocery list, going through the kitchen and seeing the things that I need and seeing the things that are low. And I'm talking about when the money is so tight until you really can't see straight, but everybody has to eat and the children has to eat. And there has been a time or two where I put off my dinner to make sure that they got their bellies full. So I had to make sure everyone had food on their plate. And we're not even talking about when summertime hit and kids are at home, just there at any point. So I made a list, and this list, and I'm going to tell you, it really changed my life, helped me to get to a point to where I can keep a little taste of money until I can figure out another way to do things. So I made a list, and my list would include not everything that I needed in the kitchen, but what we were going to eat day for day. Like, what am I going to cook today for dinner? What am I going to cook Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I would go for the week, and I would go to the grocery store and I would buy anything that I knew I didn't have in the kitchen that would suffice for that meal on Monday. And then whatever I needed for that meal on Tuesday, and so on and so on. Okay. So, and I would pick cheap meals to cook. Let's say, for instance, everybody's familiar with the famous spaghetti. Now, it didn't take much to fix spaghetti. So I would cook things like spaghetti and tacos. Now, I know it's not good meals. I know that. Okay. I eat very healthy as of right now. But sometimes when you have children, you got to feed them whatever you can feed them when your money is low and you have no other means of doing anything else. So if I didn't have beef, I bought beef. If I had noodles, I didn't buy the noodles. If I needed bell peppers and onions, because I'm an old school, I'm from the South, so I believe in cooking stuff and cutting it up myself. So if I didn't have it, I would buy it. Other than that, nothing else for Monday. Same thing for Tuesday. Same thing for Wednesday. So I only bought what I had to have that I didn't have in the kitchen for those meals. So I realized really quickly when I started doing that, instead of, my flour was getting a little low and I'm going to fry chicken and make some macaronis on Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? I've done went and bought another big bag of flour. I'm buying all this extra stuff. I didn't need it at that moment. So I knew I needed to stop. So I would only buy what I knew I had to have. And my grocery bill went down substantially just from doing that. So some weeks I may spend $30. The next week I probably didn't have to spend but $20 because I still got noodles from the pack from the week before. Now, when I'm talking about stuff like this, apparently the money was tight. Okay. And I had to do whatever it took. I made sure that I didn't waste one nickel towards food. So now that I had the food out of the way, as far as the clothing was concerned, now, I never really had a problem as far as my kids coming home and saying, such and such got this and I want to have it too. I see such and such wear this, so I want it too. I never had that problem. And being that if I didn't do anything, I made sure that they were clothed. I didn't worry too much as far as that was concerned. But as far as like when the holidays come around, like right now it's the holidays, and I realized that my children, they if you buy them, you spend a lot of money on toys. And if you buy your kids these toys that you know they are not going to play with more than a day or two or maybe a week, look at the money that you wasted on toys when you probably could have bought them maybe one or two, because children, they like toys. The younger they are, they don't care anyway. They're just happy to get any and every. It's just that when they go to getting up, an age where they can pretty much tell you what they want because they see stuff on TV or whatever, you already know you can expect some long lips at Christmas if you don't have it. But you know what? The worst part about that was, I think, as far as them getting everything that they wanted on Christmas, was trying to get myself straight, knowing that I done put out that money. And let me tell you something. I got to a point where I am going to just spend money on what I know. Pick one or two of what you want for sure, for sure. This is when times was bad, because when it wasn't, the Christmas tree, it would have so many toys. But sometimes we just can't do that. We can't do that. Save money and smell well with Shell. I would get recipes to figure out my kids' favorites, and I would make a menu for the month, just like the school does. And I would shop only the items that I needed. Good tips you are giving out. Girl, let me tell you something. That right there will save you. You already know it does. When someone when someone tells you, no, it's not, just go buy healthy foods. You need to spend, this is what we got going on now. Buy healthy foods. Spend money on this, spend money on that, because you want your children to eat better than we ate. Of course we do. But sometimes money is so tight until you just can't do that. And we already know the cheapest of foods is the cheapest of foods. And while we're talking about foods, okay, when back in the day, Kroger's was the main thing. Now, I don't know if it is now still in the southern states. I have no idea. But I know Kroger's was the main store. I would always find the cheapest grocery store in my area to buy groceries. I don't need to go to one store and pay for the same loaf of bread and spend $1.50 more over here than I did at that store. I don't have a need for that. Food is food, especially when you're trying to survive. Food is food. And let me tell you something, even to this day, living here in LA by myself, I have trained myself so well on that until I go now to the cheapest grocery store. I bypass all of the other grocery stores and go to the cheapest grocery store. If I'm out and about, now Trader Joe's is my go-to because I do eat clean. It's right up the street and I can walk literally without even having to drive my car. But if I'm out and about and there is a food for less somewhere out there and I see it, guess who's stopping? Me. I'm gonna stop at the cheapest grocery store because that's the one I'm familiar with, and I know that I'm gonna get more food for my buck, especially right now with inflation going on. So as far as the children, and all that good stuff is concerned, if you train yourself to spend only what you need to spend, okay? The name brands and all of that, us as adults, when you reach a certain age, and I don't want to say a certain age because a lot of younger people already know this and they practice this. But there comes a time where the name brands should mean absolutely nothing to you. because all we're doing is putting out our money and making someone else rich while we suffer. Now we look good. We wearing clothes that are flashy and people are giving us all these different compliments and we're feeling great about all these different types of things. But at the end of the day, when you get home, there's no money. Now you're crying because there's no money. And let me tell you, I trained myself so well as far as the money part is concerned. When I thought I was struggling and counting and watching every dime I spent until by the time, I just looked around one day and I was saving money. And I was like, how is this possible? I'm working the same job. I'm making the same amount of little pay. How am I possibly saving money? And let me tell you something. It was the best feeling in the world. It wasn't much. I wasn't saving much. But at first, I started off with zero. I started off with zero. And you're right. You're right. Beans, red beans, and rice, cornbread. Cornbread, save money. Let me tell you something. Cornbread was my go to, and my son used to love cornbread so much. I wanted to give him that nickname Cornbread, like the dude off of the Temptations. I don't forgot what his actual name is, but I wanted to give him that nickname because he would love cornbread. Cornbread is the cheapest thing to make. You know what I'm saying? Eggs, milk, flour, milk. I mean, it was the cheapest thing to actually make. So as long as you had beans, as long as I had beans and rice in a crock pot, I could make a meal and make them eat off it at least 2 to 3 nights. You're right. You are exactly right. It's always a way to make sure your money stretches. And even to this day, being that I live by myself, I've gotten so used to doing those types of things. When I go to the grocery store, because I eat clean, I don't buy much meat at all. If I decide I want to buy meat, it's probably because I'm feeling some sort of way and I know I'm burning off all of what I got going on while I'm out during the day. And the greens and the green juice and all that stuff I be doing may just not be cutting it. And I say, well, you know what? Today I probably need me a piece of chicken breast or something. If you see any meat in my freezer, that's what it'll be. It'll be a pack of chicken breast. But for the most part, there's never any meat in my kitchen. But as far as the rest of the other things that I buy I'm watching what I'm paying. It doesn't matter what card I'm using. I'm watching what I'm paying. I can't stand to leave the grocery store with 1 or 2 bags and I done paid $100 for this food. It's just something I just thought I would throw out there and talk a little bit about to let you guys know that there is ways that you can actually get to a point to where your money is you are in control of your finances, even if the money is not coming in. Sometimes you may not be able to go the places that you want to go. You have to sit down, get somewhere and sit down, stay in the house, spend time with your family. If you are a loner, you're by yourself, find something to do, read a book, listen to a podcast, learn something new for yourself so that you can figure out a better way to even get yourself out of this situation. Outside of that, you know, what else is going to make you get to a point to where you don't have to worry about these things? You first have to start analyzing what you got going on with yourself. How are you putting out your money? If you're spending too much time with your friends, maybe you need to stay in the house. Spend time in the house. Watch the money that you spend, and you'll be amazed at how far your money can take you with even the job that you have. As long as your money that you're making, you're still able to keep a roof over your head, and you can pay your actual bills, the things that are important in your home, and you're able to get food and provide for everyone, and you just don't have anything else left. After all is said and done, you have no more money left. Trust me, I know. If you have no more money left, then start cutting back on some of the things that you're doing so that you can at least have a little bit in case you want to invest in yourself in something. You'll be able to see it in your future. And that's all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to just say it because I know that a lot of people are already sad. Oh my goodness. That people are already sad because it's the holiday season. I endured my own little thing last holiday season with a parent, and I can't think about anything that I got going on mentally and, and what's bothering me, because I'm able to, ask God to take those things from me so that I may be able to continue on with my day, because I still have to live. But it doesn't change the fact that a lot of people are suffering. And being that I've been there, seen that, and done all of that, I just felt the need to come on and make a quick appearance on it, and hoping that it will help somebody out. So yeah, and with that being said, thank you so much, Save Money. Um, am I saying your name right? I hope it is. It looks like it says Shell. Save Money and Smell Well with Shell. Do you have a do you sell products? Let me know if you sell products. Oh, okay. Okay. So it is Shell. So what is with the name? Is that a business? Because I'm always interested in what people got going on. You already know. You have a perfume review channel. Oh, here on YouTube? Girl, you gotta drop your channel so that I can subscribe to your channel. Most definitely. Drop it down in there so I can see it. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I know I started off on my live really late. I didn't even realize it was as late as it is. Well, here in California, we're on different time. So I didn't realize it was as late as it is for people that are in other areas. It just hit me. I was watching something on TV, and somebody was really going at it, going hard, having a problem, having all of these issues. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it just took me back to all of those different things that I was going through, and how I had to dig my way out of so many tunnels. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go live with this one and talk to some people about that, and hopefully, it'll touch someone, or at least help someone to kind of like figure out what their next move is. A lot of people probably haven't even thought about going to the grocery store just for what they actually need per day. And I know that could be strenuous, because I like to go to the grocery store once a month if I can. So imagine going every week. I was going every week only to get what I needed. And sometimes when I would hit that cash register and it tell me $20, or they say $25, that'll be $30. I'm like, yes, you know what I'm saying? But I know I ain't bought much of nothing. But my kids' bellies were full, and it was keeping me from being stressed, and I could still manage to get my car note. So I thought about that, and thank you so much for watching and being a part of my little audience. And I'll talk to you a little later. Thank you again for watching.